For lesson 8.5, we're going to learn how to find the vertex of a parabola. Okay, so here's a standard quadratic function. Okay, or using function notation, you could write it like this, because f of x is the same thing as y. All right. Then there's something called the axis of symmetry. All right, now does that look familiar? Now this is just part of the quadratic formula. All right, so if you already know the quadratic formula, then you also already know the axis of symmetry formula. Now the vertex is the maximum or minimum of the parabola. And so that would be this. It's a point. And the x value, all right, is negative b over 2a. And the y value is just whatever you get when you plug the x value into the function. All right, so important, axis of symmetry, it passes through the vertex. All right, it's the x value of the vertex. All right, if a is greater than 0, then there is a maximum to your parabola. Well, when we say a, we're referring to this value for the quadratic. If a is less than 0, then there is a minimum. Okay, so here's an example. Say I have a parabola like this. All right, this is my vertex. All right, and once again, your vertex is your maximum or minimum. Okay, and the vertex point, you could find it by using the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is a line that divides the parabola in half. Axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a. All right, it's that vertical line. So notice that the axis of symmetry passes through the vertex, so the x value must be over 2a. And to simply figure out the y value of the vertex, you just plug the x value back into your quadratic function. So that's f of negative b over 2a. You're evaluating the function using that x value. All right, now these are known as your roots, zeros, or x-intercepts. All right, we've been finding the roots or the zeros or the x-intercepts in many of the lessons. All right, but in this lesson, we're finding this point, the vertex, which is the maximum or minimum. All right, so let's do an example. All right, sketch the graph of the quadratic function without using a graphing utility. Identify the vertex, axis of symmetry, and the x-intercepts. Okay, axis of symmetry, what is it? It's negative b over 2a. All right, what is a in this case? A is 1, b is negative 2, and c is negative 3. Plugging those values in, I get the negative of b, which is negative 2, for 2 times 1. Simplifying that, I get 2 over 2, which is equal to 1. All right, so there's my axis of symmetry, which is 1. Now, what's the relationship between the axis of symmetry and the vertex? Well, the axis of symmetry passes through the vertex. So since the x value here is 1, the x value of the vertex is 1. So to figure out the y value, all I have to do is plug in the x value. 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 3. 1 minus 2 minus 3. So I get 1 minus 5, which is negative 4. All right, so now I have the vertex. Now I need to figure out the x-intercepts, and to do that, I'm simply going to factor. I need to find two values that add up to negative 2 and multiply to give me negative 3. That's going to be 1 and negative 3. So I get y is equal to x plus 1 times x minus 3. And now to figure out the intercepts, you simply set y equal to 0. And then you solve for your x values. So x plus 1 equals 0, and x minus 3 equals 0. I'm going to subtract 1 here, and I get x is equal to negative 1. And then I'm going to add 3, and I get x is equal to positive 3. And there are my two x-intercepts. So I have negative 1 and 0 for one intercept, and 3 and 0 for the other intercept. And now I could use this information to graph. So negative 1, 0. Let's put a couple tick marks here. All right. All right, negative 1, 0 is 1 x-intercept or root or 0. Then I have 3, 0. And then I have my vertex, which is at 1, negative 4. All right, and I could graph my parabola using that information. All right, it's as easy as that. All right, if you have any questions, if you need any help, make sure to ask. Begin the assignment.